What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Inside the Lines. Happy Monday. Another full week of NBA playoffs for the team. Very exciting stuff. And we have some MLB. We have some college baseball as well as always all week. No Steven this week. Just me and Jake. We're running the table today. The young here, running the show. We do have Derek in the chat as always, talking stats, talking injuries, players, minutes, all those things. So any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat as well. All right, let's start with the MLB here. We're going to run through some props. I gave out a few props earlier today. Kudos to Jake for some of those. But let's go through some of your favorite ones here, starting with our boy Gunnar Henderson. Gotta love it. Gotta love when we play Gunnar.
Hey, gotta love Gunnar Henderson props, and I like the matchup against Jose Barrios in Toronto. Barrios has been really good this season. He wasn't as good as last start, and that kind of cost Steven and I's fantasy team. So he's on the S list.
What about your guys'
fantasy wise? Yeah, in terms of fantasy wise, he's on the S list. But I mean, I think Gunnar Henderson to score runs always a good bet, and especially since he didn't score a run last game, I was looking at any Gunnar Henderson play, and I was thinking that I wanted to play an Adley Rutschman play, first of all. And Adley is, I think, 10 for 16 in his career off Barrios. So, I mean, that's pretty incredible. So I was thinking Adley to walk at plus 165, which I don't hate, but Adley hasn't really walked at all this season. And you're going to be very careful with him. He has 8 walks this season, even though he had 90 last season. Well, I still don't mind a Adley walk play. But Gunnar Henderson, I was just more confident about getting on base to start, and then maybe Adley knocks him in. And I was thinking Gunnar minus 150 over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, but I like the minus 120 a lot better here.
Okay. We're always looking for the value here. Quick question in the chat about Sanchez over 4.5 strikeouts. Any thoughts on that?
Share my screen. I have the baseball database up. We have, Christopher Sanchez, Philadelphia. We have Sanchez at 5K. So
you got that zoom in better than Steven, ironically, who's older and should have 5.
Right. It's interesting. We actually have probably some value on a no-run first inning here, which for I don't love the matchup because Sean Manaea against a lot of hard-hitting Phillies don't love that. But Sanchez, we have 5Ks. I don't mind to play 4.5 over 4.5 Ks.
Speaking of hard-hitting Phillies, at plus 145, my boy Alec.
Yeah, Alec Boehm. I was looking at any Phillies play because I like the matchup against a lefty. And Boehm, interesting enough, in 50 at-bats this season against left-handed pitchers, he has 17 RBIs, which is pretty insane. I think he has 15 RBIs and over 100 at-bats against right-handed pitchers this season. You can see he has an insane hit streak pretty much all except for this one game against San Francisco. He has a hit in all but one game dating back to April 16th. But he hasn't gotten a ton of RBIs lately. Yesterday, he was in the 2-hole, which kind of took away some of his RBI opportunities, but most of the time he's in the 5-hole. I put this play in before looking at where he's hitting today, but I'm assuming he's probably in the 5-hole. But I think there should be plenty of RBI opportunities today, especially I just love that number, that 17 RBIs, 50 at-bats against left-handed pitching. He's just raking.
Before we get to your money line play here, just want to shout out Alvarez here as one of our favorite home run prop values at plus 300 on FanDuel. It was. Can't promise it's still plus 300, but when Jake sent it to me this morning, it was. Not an official play here, but a good buy low spot on Alvarez, who's like 0-8 on having home run against Stingling here this season, right?
Yeah, Ross Triplet. So Jordan, usually you'll see a plus 200. It's like his lowest number against a right-handed pitcher. But since Jordan's struggled this season, getting him at plus 300 on FanDuel earlier, I think it's just insane value. We have him at plus 280. So we don't really love the matchup, like not insane value, but getting him at plus 300 any book against a right-handed pitcher. I think the only reason that he's at that is that he's 0-8 against Stripling. Exactly. He's due.
Yep. He's due. I said that.
And he has 2+ hits in 3 of his last 4 games. So he's seeing the ball a lot better. It's just not making home run contact.
He's just loading. He's loading up. He's seeing the ball. We're making contact with the ball. We're just loading up for the big hit here. I like it a lot. All right, one more MLB play before we dive into these NBA playoff games. Let's just go with a simple money line play here.
Yeah, the Brewers money line. Actually, our boy John actually gave this out as his free pick of the day, so must be a good pick. John's on it, but we just have a ton of value here.
Wait, we should have John as a guest while Steven's not here.
I know, right? But look at this value. So the money line at minus 145 is 56.8% implied. We actually absolutely love this matchup. 73.9% Sims have Milwaukee winning, which is a little scary. I wouldn't put it that high. I don't have that much confidence, but I do really like this. Mitch Keller is coming off a complete game, and usually when a pitcher goes 9 innings, they struggle in the next game. Colin Ray, he struggled a lot his last game against Kansas City. Milwaukee still somehow won, but I kind of look, it's 0 earned runs, 5 earned runs, 0 earned run, 4 earned runs. He's due for 3. So he's due for 0 earned runs again. And it looks like every other start, he has a quality start. So we're going with the bounce back from Milwaukee's pitcher while we're fading Mitch Keller here. Love
it. Double whammy. This is the most I've known what's going on through the MLB segment of the show in a really long time, considering I gun to my head for giving out baseball picks earlier today. And I enjoy it. And I really actually want to bet Alvarez, I think, a home run prop. I think it's his time. All right.
And then answering Big Cheesy, we don't have sim value in the Nationals, but I'm on that one. I'm on the Nats today. Usually wouldn't be on the Nats, but they are playing the White Sox, and Trevor Williams has looked pretty good. So I think minus 124 is pretty good value. Even though, interesting enough, I don't hate an under 8.5, even though I'd be scared in this game by these pitchers who are they're overperforming so far. But 8.5 is a lot. I don't mind it under there, but I'm definitely on the Nats.
Okay. Sometimes Jake's opinion is just as solid as the model. I bet the record's pretty similar, if not better. Okay. We do have an NBA draft play I want to get to super quick before we get to tonight's games. Not too much to say here. Just a value play, kind of an act now situation before this line starts to get out of hand, right?
Yeah, it's minus 190 on FanDuel, minus 180 on DK. Alex Sarr, number 1 overall. I think that Atlanta's a pretty good landing spot for him. There's talks of them trading out of that spot. It's such a weak draft. I don't know if you're going to get a lot to move out of that spot. So, but even if they do move out of the number 1 spot, Alex Sarr, I think there's a pretty big drop off from number 1 to number 2 in this year's draft. And Alex Sarr isn't like a typical number 1 pick. I think last year he'd probably be between 5 and 10, but he is 7-1 and he's shooting with the ball pretty well in the combine today. And which I like this. I sent this play in before the combine started, and he's making some threes at 7'1". He measured in pretty well, and I really like this.
All right. Yeah.
I would be surprised if it doesn't get to like minus 350 at one point. So that's why I just would hop on at minus 180.
Exactly. That's the important thing to note here. And something we're pretty good about getting on early is getting on this before the line's out of control. This will probably be somewhere around minus 300 as the draft approaches. So get it at minus 180 while you can. All right. Let's talk about money to be made tonight here. We'll start with Cleveland-Boston. We were talking about this earlier today, the three of us. The model seems to love Cleveland in the spot, backing the home dogs, backing Cleveland team total as well, trying to rationalize why that is. A lot of it, I would assume, just being the ceiling of Cleveland's offense that they could have. They only shot 43% last game, so got to be better than that. I mean, they shot poorly from deep, poorly under the paint or under the rim. So hopefully we get some better games from some role players here. But any other, is the model stubborn about Boston's playoff history and how they seem to perform in spots they're supposed to dominate in?
So what we do factor in the postseason, a lot of it's like the regular season splits. So that's why we kind of have we like Cleveland splits at home, and we still have Jarrett Allen limited but playing. And so that's definitely factored in there. And I think it was. So right now we have Cleveland losing by 2.5. We use the line at Boston minus 2.5. And if we take Allen out completely, it's more of the 5.5, 6. Mm-hmm. So even regardless, we do have value on Cleveland. We have value on the team total. These plays scare the crap out of me, so I'm not sure I'd really recommend it. We were talking earlier about Donovan Mitchell over 4.5 assists. It's heavily juiced at -145, but we have him at 6.8. He had plenty of assist opportunities of a game, but these guys were shooting bricks left and right.
Right. Well, let's talk about our boy Max Strus, who we do like.
Exactly.
9.5 points. One of those role players we're hoping just plays better in this game. We have him for 11.2 right now, and that is, again, with Jared Allen in around 75%. But that jump is an exaggeration. Basically 12 points, though, is what we have him projected for with Allen out. Nonetheless, both value here. This could be a good play to parlay maybe with Mitchell over 4.5 assists to give you some better value.
Exactly. It's pretty correlated here, especially because lots of his shot attempts are probably off of Mitchell passes. But if you look at this, he had 8 shot attempts. He just went 2 for 8 last game. And he's hit double digits in 4 of his last 6 games in the playoffs. He's getting the shot attempts. If he gets 8 or above, you would think with his shooting splits that he would hit this number. Problem is he went 6 and 5 in 2 of those games. In one game, he actually had 7, and he hit the over at 10 points. But it's just mostly bouncing back. You just got to bet on him to bounce back. And regardless if Jared Allen does play, his minutes are probably going to be anywhere from 35 to 40 minutes. So that's not a huge concern. But his shot volume should go up a little with if Allen doesn't play. Or maybe it might even help. I don't even really know because the floor spacing could be a little better.
I mean, I feel confident about literally anyone else stepping up other than Garland. Like somebody else has to.
I want to bet Garland to finish with exactly 15 points. What are the odds with that?
Yeah,
right? Like 14 or 15 points. What are the odds that Garland finishes and just misses his prop line by half a point?
Yeah. D. Johnson asking about Mobley over 15 points. We like that a lot. We have value. I mean, we don't necessarily have too much model value on it, but me and Jake were talking about how much we like that. And these number 14.5 is with Allen in the lineup. So without Allen in the lineup, obviously we'd like it more.
I think we'd have him probably for 17 or 18 points in the Sims if you take Allen out and you bump up Mobley. So I like that. Mobley's the one player who could turn around the series just with his athleticism and with Kristaps hurt. He's the one mismatch that Cleveland has. And we saw in game 2, he was a big reason why they won that game in game 2. And he was all over the floor, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. But he kind of disappears at times. But he's as talented as almost any player in the NBA.
I know. As someone who was on him in game 1, he did end up covering more so in garbage time. It was just his points and rebounds. But, guys were blowing by him in that game 1. So I didn't watch game 2. I have to assume he's since figured that one out. But I still like his offensive production nonetheless. He can still, have a good mismatch offensive game here. Okay, let's move on to the other game. We'll head over to OKC Dallas. This has been a tough game to handicap as well. We got one guy we really like here. As far as the spread, as far as the total, we're literally in line with the odds makers. Same score prediction, same point total, same team totals. There's no edge whatsoever, but we have been looking at some props. Talk about our boy Derek Lively here that we like to go over 6.5 points. Daniel Gafford ends up a little injured, comes back in, but like Jake was saying, still looked injured. His shot looked off, his free throws looked off, and were both misses. But Lively could be someone who maybe picks up some more minutes because of this.
Yeah, Lively knocked down 4 key free throws last game. Yeah, we don't have a ton of value. We have him at 6.8, but the big thing is if he gets those 20 minutes. And the last game he had 27, the game before he had 20. But I think the real big thing is he knocked down those 4 clutch free throws. I know he said his mom was a big reason why. So hopefully she's at the game today giving him some support.
Why did you do your research?
Yeah, I do my research. You got to factor in everything going with these props. But just Kyrie offered him a lot of encouragement. Said, you got these free throws. He nailed them. He wasn't a bad shooter. He has touch. I know in high school he shot 3-pointers, and he was a 5-star recruit because he was 7'1" and could nail a 3-pointer.
He's 7'1"?
He's 7'1", yeah.
I have zero perception of the height of NBA players because they all look the same.
They're all giants. Yeah. Like these guards who are 6'4", they look tiny on the court, and then you next to them and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember doing a Gator basketball camp when I was like 5 years old, and I was scared of every single player because they were so big.
So tall. Well, nothing, I think I've mentioned it on the show before, but there's nothing crazier than a video of Steph Curry and George Kittle, like hugging it out or something. And they're the same
size.
height.
Yeah.
And in my head, like Steph Curry's like a little man. And like, I'm so confused.
But this is the big reason why I like the lively play. If you look at Gafford's game log, he's 22, 27, 27, then 20. And a lot of that happened because he banged up his shoulder. He went to the locker room, I'm pretty sure, for a little, and he was out of the game. Checked back in. He played the third quarter, but he sat the last 7 minutes of the game. And he was 0 for 2 on free throw attempts. The game before, he's 5 for 9. He's like in between. He's like a 65, 70% free throw shooter. I think 65, something like that. That's what we have him in the model. But it was clear that he was not 100% healthy. He is 67.2. So. I think it was definitely clear that he was a little lingered, and so because of that, I like Derek Lively play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like they're actually starting to take advantage of the size mismatch with OKC, which felt like they didn't really too much earlier. We're also banking on maybe PJ Washington not to be a 70% playoff shooter. That would help us a lot. But nonetheless, let's take a look at the recap here. We got 2 player props for the NBA. We technically have some value on the Cavs, +8. If you're feeling crazy, the model backs you, so you don't have to feel like a crazy person. I just don't think I have the guts to do it myself, but we do like Derek Lively. We do like Max Strus. We got a couple MLB plays for you as well. And the NBA draft. Get in your Alex Sarr -180 now. I'm yelling at everybody because I know in 2-3 weeks, we're going to be saying, I told you so. And you guys are going to be saying, like, why didn't you say that earlier? Here it is. On a silver platter. Early value, -180. All right. That's all we got today. We'll be back tomorrow. Just me and Jake again. Bring your questions, any early lines you see early in the day you want to get on. Always feel free to reach out to us as well. Jake, how's the MLB college slate looking for tomorrow?
College, there's a lot of games. My Gators don't have a game tomorrow, but I was concerned that there weren't too many college games, but looked at the schedule and there are plenty of college games. So we'll definitely have some college picks. Definitely have some MLB plays. I know Wednesdays are a lot of day games, so I'm not sure what we're going to do but Wednesday, but tomorrow we'll have plenty of plays.
Perfect. All right, everyone. Good luck with your bets, okay? It's getting sharp over there in the NBA. We need all the luck we can get. We got to support each other through this. It's going to be tough through the end of June, but we can do this. All right, we will see you guys tomorrow. Good luck with your bets tonight.